All right. So, hi there, everyone. My name's Nicole Bray, and my partner over there is Catherine. Like Dr. Horton said, we're nursing students at the University of Texas, and today we're here to talk to you a little bit about mental health during a pandemic. So, first, I'd like to start off with some definitions. So, what is anxiety? Anxiety is a feeling of worry or unease that's common, and I'm sure we're all kind of feeling it right now. We all have it, and it's probably a little more common that we're feeling a little more anxious than normal given the current circumstances in the world and all the unknowns. And then stress. So stress is your mind and body's reaction or response to certain situations. These stressors can be internal or external. I'm sure we're all feeling a little more stressed than normal. So let's talk a little bit about how your stress or anxiety might manifest. So you may notice that you're having difficulty concentrating, increased irritability, maybe harder to sleep. I know that's happening to me. I'm having a really hard time keeping a schedule and sleeping. I'm all sorts of messed up. You may be a little more indecisive, not able to enjoy food, or you may be overeating, maybe unable to relax or have a constant feeling that things need to be done. That's definitely me all the time. Your stress or anxiety may manifest as headaches or muscle tension in your neck or shoulders. These are all really common manifestations of stress and anxiety. You may have some others, but it's common that we're all going to feel like this right now. So Catherine's going to discuss some ways in which we can address these feelings.
So Nicole already talked about the manifestations that you can experience while having anxiety or stress. So I'm going to talk about going ahead and addressing those feelings or manifestations. So the first thing you want to do is, if you're experiencing any of those symptoms, is go ahead and acknowledge that those feelings are there. So the first step is realizing that you feel those feelings of being overwhelmed, or that you have all these things going on and you have to check off all these boxes. So just being able to address that, oh, I'm feeling this way, and being able to express those feelings and talk about them is key. The next thing is going ahead and managing your anxiety or stress. So we talked about how we're feeling, and we're going to go ahead and acknowledge those feelings when you feel like these times are getting overwhelming and stressful. So we're going to talk about 6 ways that you can go ahead and manage these symptoms. So first, you want to go ahead and practicing acceptance. This means addressing things that you can't necessarily change in your life. For example, we're trying to maintain a routine even though we're in the middle of a pandemic. So go ahead and saying I have to have breakfast at 7 a.m. and I have to have lunch at some point in the day, and I have to have dinner, or I have to take the dog out to walk him or her at least 3 times a day. So realizing that there are things in your schedule that you can't necessarily change. Being able to talk about your feelings and not keeping it bottled up inside at this time is very important. So I know that a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed or unsure, or feeling like we have a lot of tasks that we need to get done, but it's okay to go ahead and talk about that. And realizing that now is the time to be vulnerable. So it's okay to talk about those feelings of worry, stress, and anxiety, and realizing that that's okay, that it's okay to have these feelings and that that's normal. And right now is the time to also be very kind to yourself and forgiving. We're feeling a lot of overwhelming feelings and everything that's going on in the world right now. So now's the time to be very kind and gentle with yourself, and acknowledging all your feelings and telling yourself that it's okay, and also spreading that kindness and gentleness with everybody else around you, and spreading that within the community as well. Number 2, adapting to the situation. So once you acknowledge the feelings that you're having or the manifestations of dealing with your stress or anxiety, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and take a moment to realize oh my gosh, I'm feeling like I'm getting stretched too thin. Take a moment to relax and take a deep breath. Take a look at the bigger picture of what you're trying to accomplish for the day, and go ahead and acknowledge that things are going to change. Yes, to a certain extent, you want to maintain a specific routine and have a schedule throughout the week, but understanding and being kind with yourself that this is a pandemic and things are meant to change and some things won't be consistent, and that's okay. And being able to have a positive outlook and framework on life, just kind of saying like, oh, maybe necessarily I didn't get all 10 things I wanted to do today get done, but being very forgiving with yourself and saying like, it's okay, like at least I got some things done today and there's always tomorrow, and handling yourself with grace during this time. So just being very forgiving, very kind to yourself, and trying to maintain that positive mindset. Step 3, self-care. So the whole point of self-care is making time in your day to do activities to take care of yourself and making time for yourself. And this is an important time to be very kind to yourself. So examples of what I mean by making time for yourself, that means scheduling at least 30 minutes out of your day to do an activity that you enjoy. So whether that's walking your dog out to the park, or doing dancing, or doing a puzzle, or reading a magazine, now's the time to schedule that at any point in your day, but it is very important to schedule at least 30 minutes a day to make it for you time and not for anybody else. Another thing is trying to get a laugh out of every day. I know with everything going on, it can be a very stressful, overwhelming time, and there is a lot of tragedy going on as well with the loss of loved ones, but it's okay to still have a sense of humor during this time and help yourself kind of navigate through the difficult times and provide some happiness. So whether that's looking at videos on YouTube that make you laugh, or watching a comedic show on Netflix, or going through apps that have comedic jokes, now is the perfect time to use those. So try to get a laugh out of every day. Because most of us are at home a majority of the time, now's the time to maybe think about creating a new ritual. So that may mean doing a facial skin mask one time a week, or doing a hair treatment mask one time a week, or trying to do a crossword puzzle to expand your vocabulary, or even taking an evening walk around the neighborhood, just kind of exploring as long as you're maintaining physical distancing. Another thing I want to emphasize is now is the time that, because we're at home a lot, to incorporate your spiritual life. That's still possible at home. So that whether that's meeting with your Bible study group through Zoom, or using your Bible app to go ahead and pray, or praying by yourself when you wake up 10 minutes a day, or when you're about to go to bed for 10 minutes, now's the time to also incorporate your spiritual life as well. And I'd also want to hear any activities that you guys have been doing right now to practice self-care.
If you want to unmute to share, you can do that.
Good morning, Dr. Horton.
Good morning.
This is David Collins. I'm just going to say that we make sure that we go to the Wednesday and Sunday services, and also we have a group that has a home Bible study that we've converted over to. It's not my group; we're members of it, but we've converted over to Zoom meetings and are really enjoying getting together on Saturday evenings.
That's awesome.
Oh, very cool.
Hello, this is Mayola. One thing I've started doing with a friend, she lives alone and I live alone. And so it can get lonely, but we meet every night to watch comedies. And we'll talk before the comedies, and we'll stop and give each other a call if something happens that we want to talk about. But that has been very nice. And it's strengthened our friendship also.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Anyone else?
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on now. Nicole's going to talk about ways to stay calm.
Okay, so in a time of uncertainty, it's really important to take care of ourselves, as Catherine discussed, and all those ideas y'all gave were really awesome. But it's also important to really stay calm. When you're feeling stressed, taking a deep breath is a really good way of promoting relaxation and decreasing your stress. So something I do is what's called 4-square breathing. And it may be a little weird, but we can try it right now. So basically it's you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. So we can do it right now if you guys want to. Okay, ready? So breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I find that just like, I think even the like repetitiveness of counting and just like the slow deep breaths really helps me kind of relax and take a second. It's a good way to pause. Meditation is another way that can help reduce stress and increase your concentration and actually help with your immune system. These like calming methods can actually make your blood pressure decrease too. So that's really beneficial to your health. There's lots of apps out there for meditation. Like I use an app called Wake Up, which is really nice. It's like guided meditation. There's lots of YouTube videos that can guide you through meditation. And now's also a really good time to incorporate like your prayer, your Bible study, and your spirituality and helping you remain calm and relax. And pressing pause is definitely something that's really important, being patient with yourself. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't be afraid to like take a second, breathe, take care of you. Like don't be afraid to press pause on your mind for a minute. I know I have to do that on a regular basis. And then, you know, maybe when you're pressing pause, you can do one of those self-care activities that Catherine suggested. And then, so we've been hearing a lot on the news about social distancing. I think it's important to kind of like differentiate between social distancing and physical distancing. So the goal is physical distancing. We as humans are social beings, like we need to interact with others. So we don't want you to be like getting no interaction. And so now's a good time to catch up on connecting. Like don't be afraid to make that phone call to your friend you haven't talked to in a while. Reach out to your family. There's so many resources online or anywhere that you can use to talk to people. So you can use Google Hangout or Zoom like we're doing right now. House party. I can't tell you, I've talked to my family so much more during this pandemic than I probably have in my entire life. We do like nightly trivia nights through this app called House Party. It's really fun. And my family's all the way in Connecticut, so like it's actually really nice. I feel like I'm getting more time with them. But you can stay connected in so many ways, like just send a text message or, you know, whatever it may be. And then there's so many things you can do online as resources. So many like musicians are doing virtual shows. You can attend a concert and like you can Zoom and watch it with your friends. Throw a virtual party on House Party like I've been doing with my family every night. And it's a good time to spring clean your social media. So I know that sometimes like as you're scrolling through your social media, it can be a little overwhelming to see all of these different stories that may be a little stressful, definitely overwhelming. It's a good idea to kind of decide on one news source and then use that as your primary news source. Like don't let your social media lead you down this rabbit hole because there's lots of fake news out there and misinformation, and just make it your goal to get your news from one source so that you're not being overwhelmed by all of these different pieces of information that may or may not be true. Like, and take a break from social media. If you're finding it overwhelming, like just take a break. Go watch TV, go take a walk, do something else, like do something for you. Don't be afraid to just like close Facebook for the day, you know? So, but staying connected is so important. Like, don't let yourself feel alone during this time. I know that we probably all are. Like, I also am by myself, so I feel that like feeling alone thing, but stay connected. Like, don't let yourself go down this rabbit hole of no connection.
The next thing we want to talk about is healthy lifestyle. So I know that most of us are staying indoors for the most part and not being able to get out of a house. but this is not the time to just kind of throw all our good healthy habits out the window. So I want to really emphasize trying to exercise at least 3 times a week. And that doesn't necessarily mean that all these physical activities that you need to do require you going outside. So I just want you to incorporate maybe at least 10 minutes of incorporating any kind of body movement. And if that means going and just moving furniture out of the way, and then you're engaging your arm muscles, just pushing the couch out of the way, so you can do 10 crunches. Or that means doing some cleaning around the house, like when you want to clean your kitchen on Sundays, because that's when I usually do a lot of my cleaning. So you're engaging, like your heart rate is going up and you're engaging all your muscles. Or if that means going outside and maintaining that 6 feet of physical distancing, just taking a walk around the neighborhood, or taking this time for a bike ride. I know that Austin has a lot of beautiful trails. Or going running if you're up for it. It's really good at getting your heart rate up and lowering hypertension. Another thing I want to talk about is maintaining adequate nutrition. I know that a lot of us aren't able to go to the grocery store, definitely not as much as we used to. And at this time, like, a lot of us are trying to stay home, and that means cooking a lot more at home. So I just want to emphasize that when you're making yourself a meal, just go ahead and making sure that your plate is made up of at least half colorful fruits and vegetables. And that means doing different colorful fruits and veggies throughout the week. So maybe having like red strawberries and yellow bananas and a green salad on Monday. And then on Wednesday, you're having an orange and you're having a kale salad. Another thing I want to emphasize is making sure at least half your grains are whole. And that's something that you can do every day. And ways to figure out if your grains are whole or not is when you go to the grocery store, it kind of looks like a little stamp that you would put on a letter on an envelope, and it'll say whether it's at least 15 grams of whole grain or not. And that means things like brown rice and whole grain bread, black beans, etc. And another thing I want to emphasize is staying hydrated. I know that a lot of us aren't going outside, or maybe not even going outside at all, but you still want to stay hydrated while being at home. That means drinking at least 3 glasses of water a day and just kind of getting your fluids up so we don't risk dehydration. And lastly, I want to emphasize getting enough sleep. I know that during this time, sometimes it's a little hard to maintain on schedule, but you just want to hold yourself accountable and trying to get at least a minimum of 7 hours of sleep. And try practicing avoiding screen time 30 minutes before bed. This has been shown that when you have screen time at least 30 minutes before bed, it kind of makes it harder for you, and it takes at least an hour to go to sleep. So just kind of taking that time to go ahead and either pray or meditate, breathing exercises, or maybe having like a small snack will be helpful with your sleep instead of engaging in screen time before bed. Another thing I want to emphasize is staying active during this time. I know that we are indoors and in our homes most of the time, but it is very important to also incorporate our physical and mental health into our daily routines. We want to keep practicing that self-care that we've been talking about, and just staying engaged and keeping that heart rate going up, and incorporating breathing exercises and all the things we've been talking about so far. Ways that we can also stay active is using fitness apps. Me personally, I've been taking this time to going ahead and using the Nike fitness app. It is free. It has a lot of great videos that you don't need any like fitness equipment or gym equipment. Just go ahead and throw on like a t-shirt and call it a day. And they also have lots of videos to show how you can do these exercises. So you go ahead and do it with the coach that's on there. If you're not into that, there's also like YouTube videos that show like any kind of physical activity that you can think of that doesn't require any gym equipment. And me personally, I'm also into dancing. So I know a lot of people in the dance community have been doing free dance classes either on Facebook Live or Instagram Live. And they've also been live streaming on YouTube. So that's a way to kind of get your heart rate going, and it doesn't require like any weights or anything like that. And a lot of these people that are live streaming their classes are also keeping the videos up for like at least 2 days. So if you're not available during that time that the particular person you want to take a class with, that's okay, because you can attend the class at your own free time. And the last thing is like doing your own kind of workouts. So what that means is kind of like being creative. So if you just want to have a dance party in the middle of your kitchen and that be your physical activity of incorporating body movement for the day, or just like cooking and cleaning and that's like your physical activity for the day, that's perfectly fine too.
Okay. So if you're by yourself like me, and I think Miss Mayola said the same thing, it's easy to kind of let that get you down a little bit, and it's easy to feel alone when you can't leave your house and interact with anyone. So that's why it's important to utilize all these resources online, or like just using your phone, sending a text message. And if you're not by yourself, reach out to those that you know that are, because they could probably use your support. Think of an accountability person, like Miss Mayola was talking about, how she has a friend who she checks in with every night. Find that person for yourself if you're by yourself, and then reach out. Like, have someone hold you accountable. Make sure you're still getting that connection that you need. And then if you're feeling alone at home, there's so many resources online. Like if you're feeling a little more down than usual, NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, is an amazing organization. They have all these online classes. They have support groups. I'm a huge proponent of NAMI. Love the organization. Catherine and I got a lot of our information from them, but they have so much to offer you. So many online classes, support groups, just like people to talk to, which is nice as well. Just make sure you're still connecting with other people. And then, I don't know if you're animal people, but if you are, you can consider fostering an animal in this time. I have a dog. He keeps me going outside. He keeps me busy. It's a little bit of interaction. I probably seem a little weird talking to my dog all the time, but, you know, gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. And then it's really important to maintain a routine in this time of uncertainty. A lot of our days are probably feeling the same. Like, I have to wake up every morning and like look at my phone to figure out what day it is, because every day feels the same to me at this point. I don't know if it's feeling that way for you guys, but for me it is. So a routine is something that can kind of like fight that feeling. It'll make you feel a little bit more normal, and will prevent you from falling into like these black holes of sleeping all day or sitting on your phone all day. And now's a good time to do all those projects you promised yourself you were going to do eventually, like cleaning out your closet, getting some clothes ready to donate, organize your kitchen, paint your walls, whatever it may be. Get on Pinterest and try some new recipes, since we're cooking at home all the time. And then use the extra time you have in your day that you're maybe saving from a commute somewhere to connect with other people. Like reach out to your family, things like that.
This slide is going to go ahead and it's basically for parents, kind of helping your kids through these uncertain times. I know if you have kids at home, it can be kind of stressful on parents and both on them as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is providing empathy. So telling your kids like it's okay to feel the way you're feeling, and just kind of creating an open and safe space for them to talk about their feelings and everything that they're probably feeling right now about not being able to leave the house or going to school. And then going ahead and addressing keeping a routine. So I know during this time, like they're not going to school every day, 5 days a week, and they're not getting on the bus, or they're not getting dropped off via car. So just kind of incorporating a normal routine to a certain extent. So making sure they have a scheduled breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner, and incorporating family time and incorporating bath time. Another thing I want to focus on is encouraging time for friends. I know that a lot of kids feel like they're feeling lonely because they can't see their friends every day like they used to, and they can't go outside to recess, but just encouraging them that they can still visit with their friends virtually via FaceTime or Facebook Messenger or Google Hangouts, or like Nicole was talking about, house parties. So go ahead and playing games with their friends as well. And also for my older kids, I know that a lot of kids who were in college, basically their universities closed, so they decided to go home and spend quarantine with their family. So if you have older kids who are back from college right now, I just want to emphasize giving them some space and independence during this time, because they were in their own routine at college, and they had a lot of independence where they were kind of holding themselves accountable to do their laundry, to cook, and to take care of themselves. So just kind of giving them at least one activity that they can do to allow for them to exercise that independence that they had when they were away, and just giving them that personal space that they were so used to for so long. So that may mean like when you want family time, offering them to like play a board game or watch a movie together, but not forcing them, just kind of giving them the opportunity to make that decision if they want to engage in family time or not.
Okay, so grieving in the midst of COVID-19. This is a pretty unique thing, and grieving can look a lot of different ways. Like we may be grieving over like death or loss, but we may also be grieving over the loss of just normalcy in our everyday lives. And it's a totally normal feeling to have. And grieving is going to be a little bit more difficult because usually a lot of our coping, we rely on our support systems, and now we can't be close to them. So it's important to acknowledge how you're feeling and allow yourself to feel those emotions. The grieving process may actually just take a little bit longer because you don't have those support systems like close by. You may be in the denial stage a little bit longer, but you still have to allow yourself to grieve, and make sure to reach out to those closest to you so you don't feel so alone, and they can still support you even at a distance. Like let it happen. We're all here for you. Now's a really good time to use your faith to guide you through the grieving process. Utilize all these resources we've talked about.
So the big take-home ideas that we want to discuss that were presented throughout our presentation, first is connecting with others virtually. So like Nicole addressed earlier, I know that the news is really emphasizing social distancing, but what we really want to emphasize is physical distancing. So making sure that you're staying 6 feet away from somebody. So right now is more than ever, we need to stay connected with others. So that means socially, but through all the different resources we've talked about, whether that's a support group online or a Zoom conference or a house party or FaceTime, things like that, or just a simple phone call to a loved one. And right now is like the perfect time to attend a live stream concert and listen to your favorite music artist that you've always wanted to see, or just, you know, jam out with your friends or by yourself in your pajamas, whatever you feel like. And right now is like the perfect time to still try to get some sunlight, whether that's just 10 minutes a day, like going outside. As long as you're maintaining that 6 feet distance, it's still good to get a breath of fresh air. I know that we can all get a little bit of cabin fever during this time. Doing things that you love to do. We really want to emphasize self-care. So whether that's meeting with your Bible study group, or that's doing a dance party in the middle of your apartment, or listening to your favorite songs, or reading a book or a magazine that you really enjoy, just prioritizing that. If you emphasize on that 30 minutes a day, it'll really help with your self-care. And I know that it's a difficult, stressful time, so we want to go ahead and get some rest for our body and make sure that we're getting that adequate sleep and relaxation. So some community resources that we kind of touched on a little bit earlier in the presentation. The National Suicide Prevention Line. They have a crisis text line that if you text them at hello to 741-741, they are available 24/7 with whatever that you need. NAMI Central Texas, which is the website that we talked about, that has a lot of resources available for you guys. There's their phone number if you want to go ahead and call them with any questions or concerns or advice on how to get more resources. They're more than willing to help you there, and I know that they're working really hard during this time, and they're also working electronically as well. Integral Care is a very important community mental health service that's been helping out in Austin. That number is 512-472-HELP. And also Nicole talked about this earlier. So NAMI has a lot of virtual support groups right now. So if you feel like you're going through a lot of anxiety or stress during this time, you can sign up for one of their virtual groups online at their website, and you meet with other people that are going through the same thing you are, as well as NAMI mental health counselors as well, that can kind of listen to your feelings as well as give you advice and tips on how to cope with those feelings. And they also have the Mind Matters online webinar series that you can tune into. It's live streamed on their NAMI's YouTube. And even if you miss the live stream. It's now moved to Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. But if you can't attend it, they have a video person that goes and edits the video, and then they post it on their YouTube afterwards. So you can always tune into it later if you can't attend their webinar series. And lastly, NAMI also went ahead and posted a COVID-19 mental health support line that's available for anybody in Texas. It doesn't necessarily have to be Austin, and it's available 24/7 if you guys need that. So thank you so much for listening to me and Nicole's presentation, and we want to know if you guys have any questions for us.
Or any tips or tricks on how you've been like handling your mental health during this time? Any self-care ideas or how you're staying connected with loved ones?
Hi, this is Kathy Collins, and what I've done, because my daughter is encouraging me to exercise, and I typically don't exercise that much, so I've been putting some little weights on my ankles, so even if I'm washing the clothes or doing house cleaning, I'm exercising. I feel like I'm exercising at the same time by adding the weights onto my ankles.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, that's something I feel like I should start doing.
Yeah. Anybody else have any cool tips or tricks?
Mm-hmm.
I saw, this is Shalonda. I was sharing earlier, I saw my neighbors, since the kids don't get to play with each other, they look like they're in middle school, and they live across the street, and there's a basketball goal in each driveway. So they've been playing like pig or horse. So they shoot on their own goal from a certain spot, and they look across the street, and the other person has to shoot from the same spot in their driveway. So they still get to, it is different, but they still get to see each other, just not together, but in their own driveways playing basketball, shooting games.
That's awesome.
Okay, well, if there's not any more questions, I want to make an announcement that this Thursday, Longhorn Talks with the Nurse will be with our PD nurses, and their topic for this Thursday is asthma. It'll be at 11 o'clock using the same Zoom link and meeting idea. So it's for the youth. Parents are more than welcome to join. Other adults are too, but just know that the design of the presentation targets young people, and it will be recorded if you're not able to attend. And then next Tuesday for adults, the topic is depression, myths and facts about it. And the last health tip, if you're not aware, is starting Wednesday, the city of Austin is requiring all people to wear masks when you're out and about. So you can use scarves or make your homemade one out of a t-shirt or bandana. So we just want to encourage you to be safe. Would y'all please help me thank our Longhorn nurses for taking time to share with us, please?
Yay!
Thank you, thank you.
Okay,
Awesome.
well, thank y'all so much, and everybody else can zoom out. I'm gonna stay with the students so we can debrief and talk about how amazing they were.
Cool.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for
Thank
having
you.
this.
Thank you for
Thank
joining
you so much for coming.
us.